What's up guys, so with Horizon Forbidden West coming out next week, I thought it might be fun to do a tier list of all the machines from the first game. So starting off here with the Watcher, this is the one that looks like a bit like a raptor from Jurassic Park. I think this was the first enemy type you come across, and they're quite small and easy to kill, and they have the glaring weak point, which is the big eye, so I'll probably say they're going to be quite low on the list, so probably D I think, but they do fight back, so not the lowest tiers. So next we have the TallNeck, I think they were called. It's one of the most iconic machines, because I remember in all the trailers and all the pictures and everything before the game came out, they always used to show off the TallNecks, and I thought they were pretty interesting idea, because it looked like a Brachiosaurus with a radar dish on top, which is pretty interesting. So I think definitely top tier, because they're really big, and they're actually the only machine I believe that you come across that's actually invincible, so you can't even damage them. So with them being really big and iconic and indestructible, and I always found that really cool when you had to climb up them to hack them, and then it revealed the map. So I put the TallNeck in S tier, I think. So I thought I'd just do the machines from the first game, seeing as we have seen some of the new ones so far. I actually did do a video on all the new machines revealed so far before Forbidden West comes out, so you can check that out if you want to. And I thought that for this tier list I would just do the ones from the first game, because I've already seen the ones from the first game and know how tough they are to fight. So like a new one from the new game could look really intimidating but not be that hard or that interesting to fight or in the game or whatever. So I thought I'd save them. Maybe I might do this tier list for the first game, and then later on I might do one from the new machines from Forbidden West once that game's come out. So next up we have the Corruptor, which is really cool because it's not one of the future robots that were designed by the AI. It's actually an ancient one made by humans, and one of the ones that caused the Pharaoh plague and destroyed the earth. So that was really cool, and their design looked really badass as well. Kind of looks like a insect, and I just thought the design looked straight out of Killzone, because especially in Killzone 3 you'd see a lot of the Hellghast's like vehicles and stuff, and it had this kind of look to it, like they had them drones and they had them things they rode on in the third game. So I played them high up, but they're not that big of a threat, so I'd probably say B tier for the Corruptor. And that was really cool because they were the ones that would basically they could hijack and commandeer other machines, and that's how you get the ability to kind of tame them, for lack of a better word, tame the machines. And then next we have the Deathbringer, which is the other ancient machine that we see that was made by humans, and then the bad guys were digging them up, weren't they, and using them. And it was really cool where you would blow the machine guns off and then you could pick up the machine gun, and that was a really powerful weapon, and they were always really big and intimidating and cool. So I'd put that in A tier, the Deathbringer, or they were called the Kopesh, their actual name, because the Corruptor was called a Scarab, and the Deathbringer, I believe, was called a Kopesh or something like that, which I think is an Egyptian sword. And then next we have the Horus, or also known as the Metal Devil, which were them. You didn't actually see them in the game, but you saw them. They were part of the environment, but they were huge, and they were half buried in like the side of mountains and stuff. And I remember just thinking about it, like my imagination, because seeing one of them in action, that'd be something to see. I was always when I was playing the first game, I was always hoping that one of them, like a functioning one, would be the final boss, but unfortunately we didn't. But maybe in the next game. So I think definitely S tier, the Metal Devil, because they're massive and really cool looking as well. I always thought they looked really cool and scary looking. They had the massive tentacle things for digging up bases and that. Really cool. So next here we have the, what's it called? The Shell Walker, I think. I think it's Shell Walker or Crab Walker or something. Which basically like a crab, and then I remember you used to shoot this cargo compartment off, and then you used to get a lot of resources from them. Probably not the most iconic or powerful machines. I'd say they're pretty low. Probably E. Quite low down. I think they were a bit of a pain when you were a lower level, because I think I remember them being a bit of a challenge, but I'll put it down in E tier now, unless I change my mind. Or next to Thunderjaw. This is probably one of the, if not the most well remembered, because it looks like a T-Rex and it's really massive. And I remember when I first saw one in the game, I was like, wow, that thing is massive. And there's like, you had to hide from them at first, because if you were to a lower level and you tried taking them on, you just get absolutely killed. So definitely S. And they're really iconic. It was the TallNecks and the Thunderjaws that were always in the trailers and adverts and stuff for the first game. What's next? The Stalker, I want to say. That was the ones, they used to go invisible, and they're a bit of a pain in the butt, but I don't know if they're that memorable, but they're quite powerful. So let's say C. I think that's a good place for the Stalker. I think that's what its name was. Next we have the Scorcher, which is one of the machines that was in the DLC for the first game. They come in that DLC, and they were about medium size, but they were really tough and really hard to kill. A bit of a pain, but I guess that's because it was the add-on, so they're probably assuming you've already completed the game. So I'd imagine that's why they seemed a bit OP for their size and that. So probably decent rating of B tier, because it did look quite cool as well. I don't know what that was supposed to be. It kind of looks like a lynx or a wolf or something. Next, the Bellowback, which is one of my favourites, because I remember the first time I managed to defeat one of them. Well, actually defeated two, and it was pretty early on. Like, I've probably only been playing the game maybe a couple of days, but it was like a really intense, epic battle that I had with two of them, and they look like a dinosaur as well, which is really cool. And there's one that shot fire and one that shot I what's it called, liquid CO2 or something. So I think another B tier for the bellow back. Next up we have the Frost Claw, which was another one of the new machines that was added in the DLC, the Frozen Wilds, and they were pretty cool. Probably say C tier, because they're cool. I don't know if they're that memorable though, because probably not. Probably most people didn't have the DLC, so about mid tier. And the Fire Claw, which was basically an enlarged Frost Claw, but it used fire as its elemental attack, so probably one higher than the Frost Claw, since it's basically an upgraded version of it and that. I remember I actually was a little bit disappointed with the Fire Claw, because I remember I think I knew there was 3 new machines, and I'd seen the first 2. You see the first 2 fairly early on, but then it was like kind of teased, and it was later when you actually saw it. And then I don't know, I was expecting something different, but then when it showed up, it was just a bigger Frost Claw, which was a little bit disappointing as well. Well, next we've got the StormBird. They're really cool. They were massive, like a massive eagle, and it's pretty much like a flying Thunderjaw. You know, it's like a really very challenging. But when you finally sort of reach like a decent level and you can take it on, oops, I think I moved that a little bit. There we go. Yeah, once you reach a high enough level to take them on, it's like a really cool, epic, big fight that you would have with it, and very satisfying. So I'll probably put it in, I don't know, A or S. I'd say probably S tier for the StormBird, I think it was called. So I wonder if all of these machines will return for the sequel, or whether or not they might drop a few of them and replace them with the newer machines. I'm not sure if they said whether all the old machines from the first game are going to be included or not. I'm not sure. That'd be cool. Would be nice if if all the machines from the first game are included in the second game, plus all the new machines. That's what I'm getting at. Right, so here we have the Sawtooth, which was a really cool, massive, well, it wasn't massive, it was quite big, and I remember that quest when you had to fight one. It's pretty early on, and that was pretty intense, and it was one of the more iconic ones. It kind of looked like a big saber-toothed cat, so I'd probably put it in A, because it's from that memorable quest from early on in the game when you're still with Rost. I think his name was, when he's like your mentor, and you have to kill that Sawtooth, don't you? Next, the Ravager, which is basically kind of like a Sawtooth, but with a massive bloody laser cannon mounted on top of it. They were a really cool one as well. So I'd probably say the Ravager goes in A, definitely. They were a really cool one. Next is probably the most annoying machine, I'd say. in the game. I think they were called the long legs. It's like a massive bird thing, but I don't know, they were just one of them ones, like they just got on my nerves. I think they used to shock you as well, but they were a pain. Probably because they're annoying as well. I'd say E. And they're not really that cool either. They were just a big bird, weren't they? Is this the behemoth? I think this is the behemoth, which was I don't know, it kind of looked like a hippo or something. They were kind of cool. I think that was the one that used to had like an anti-gravity field or something, and I think it'd pick rocks up and throw them at you or something, which was pretty cool. So probably D tier, I think. They were kind of cool, but they're not really that memorable. Like, I literally only remembered it just now when I saw the picture, I think. This was that other big one, wasn't it? I think that was called the Trampler or something. I think that's the Trampler. Kind of like a bison or something, I think. Right, E. They're not that memorable, or I know they were kind of cool fighting the whole herd of them. Maybe I'd say D. Pretty cool. Not the most memorable or iconic though, so I think D's fair. Next, the Strider, which is basically just a horse. So, but they are kind of memorable because I think they were one of the ones like in the trailers and that, when you saw her riding a mount, when you saw Aloy riding one, it's always a Strider, wasn't it? And I think that was like the first one you do ride as well. You have to like, you have to use that stick thing you get to override it. So I'd say D, I think probably. Who's next? Snapmore, another one of my personal favourites. I actually did an explain video on this one quite recently because it's just a really big robot crocodile, so what's not to like about that? I remember when I first saw them as well, I was like, oh my god, that looks so intimidating. And you know, it's cool when you're a low level in that game, because most of the machines you actually do more hiding from them, and this was one of the ones that I used to hide from them, and when they got close it's like, oh, it's gonna get me. So probably B. They're probably like kind of a mid-range one because they're really cool, but I think they're kind of lower level ish or something. I can't remember, it's been ages since I played the game, but yeah. What's next? Or the Scrapper. That's one I remember from early on in the game. They're probably the first one you see that is actually kind of like a challenge. Because I remember very early on fighting these. Probably D. Yeah, they used to salvage. Like, that was really cool actually, because whenever you would defeat a machine, if you hung around it, then like these would come to start like processing the destroyed machine that you just killed, kind of like, you know, like hyenas. Like when a zebra or something gets killed, then the hyenas come and eat it. It's basically the same sort of thing as that, which I thought was really cool. Nice attention to detail. Oh, the rock breakers next. That always made me think of the Tremors movies when I first saw one of these. I was like, oh, I'd say Graboid, huh? So they're pretty cool. They're pretty high up because they're really big and quite powerful. Say 8 here. They are quite challenging as well. And they can burrow underground. What's this one called? Is this the Grazer, I think? Not sure. It's kind of like a deer or something, I think. They're one of them ones they're just used to like being a herd, and most of the time they run off. So probably F tier because it's just like a herd animal in there, and they just like run off. Next, this one as well. I think this might be the Grazer actually. Kind of like an antelope or elk or something. So basically the same. I think they're pretty much the same, just a slight different, just basically a different skin, but they acted the same way. Just a herd animal that will run off when you try to hunt them. Next, the glint hawk. They were kind of cool. Like a bird. Wouldn't that have been cool if you could ride one and fly about? Because I think that's what they actually originally planned. Because I saw this beta footage from when they first started making the game, and you could actually fly on these and fly around in the air. That would have been cool if you could do that. I don't know why they cut that out, but I'd love to be able to fly. Well, it's C, I think, because I do remember them and they were pretty cool. So plus I did have fun when I made an explain video for them not long ago, and I booted up the game and to capture some footage from me fighting them, and I had quite a lot of fun doing that because I couldn't remember the controls barely, and I almost got killed. I had to put my I think I had to put the, what was it called, the Weaver armor or something, the armor that used to regenerate health, because I almost died doing that to get the footage. I think that's called the Broadhead, which is basically just a reskinned Strider. So, what's the Strider? Not as memorable. I don't remember as much of the Strider, so I say E tier, I think. Pretty sure that was called the Broadhead, but yeah, it's basically just the same as the Strider, acted the same, just had horns. And then I think this is the last one. Yeah. Which is basically the same thing again, just another reskin Strider. This one was called the Charger, I believe, and it had horns, kind of like a ram. So call that the same as the Broadhead. And you could ride these two as well. You could override them and ride them just like the Strider. So that's all the machines from Horizon Zero Dawn. What did you think of this tier list? Do you agree or disagree? And are you looking forward to playing the game as well? It only comes out next week at the time I'm making this video, so I'm kind of hyped for it. I'm looking forward to it. I do have the special edition pre-ordered with the steelbook and everything, so that'd be cool. So I think I'm going to leave this video off here. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.